Hey guys, Raul here with the third episode of Colima's Hot Takes. Today, tonight, I'm here with Cardinal Mason. He's one of the biggest copywriting experts right now. He has almost 30K followers on Twitter, 100K on TikTok. He has 1 million likes, which is more than there are Estonians in the world. You have an agency, you have a casual syndicate, you have a copywriting course coming out. He's doing a lot of stuff. So super excited to talk with you and welcome, man. Nice to have you here.
How's it going, man?
So first off, I wanted to just lay the baseline and let people know of what you have right now and where are you at numbers wise and how you got there. So all of your empire across everything, where are you at the moment in terms of MRR?
Across all businesses.
Hmm.
Okay. So, the agency I can talk about. And then there's Casual Syndicate, and then there's the course, and there's a couple of other things that people don't really know that I work on.
Hmm.
Um, but I'll sort of lump everything together so nobody really knows like what the numbers are. But fluctuating, it's between everything is like 75 to 90 a month, depends on the month.
Gotcha. That's solid. And I have a funny question that I really love. What's the least amount of money you remember having in your bank account?
Oh, dude, I've had like absolute zero, like maxed out everything. Like you can go negative, but I went as negative as you can go.
Yeah.
I can tell the story if you want.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I think, yeah. So one time I was on a date. It was actually my first date with a girl that I ended up dating for almost 2 years. But it was like November 2019 or October 2019. So I was like not working yet. I had no money, bro, like none. So I remember I took her on a date. She drove down because I was gonna drink more than her. And so I was gonna pay for her parking. So I whipped out my credit card, tried to put it in the machine, try to pay for her parking. It declined. Parking was like $8, right? And then I realized like, oh shit, okay. So my credit card has no money. So it was like I had $1,000 limit and then a $100 grace period sort of thing, like $100 extra just in case like you fuck
Mhm.
up. I fucked up. So I was over the limit, so I couldn't even I couldn't even use my credit card. And I think I had, something like $40 on my debit card. So we went into the restaurant, we got dinner, we got drinks. I paid my with my debit card and then I checked on my phone in the bathroom after. And I think I had like $2 left on my debit card. So I couldn't even process any more transactions. But I still had cash in my wallet because I was a server, right? And so they would give me cash. I would just get tipped out in cash. And then I and so we went to the other bar after, and I put $20 down for a couple of drinks for us, and that was it. I was out of money until I got paid, 4 days later on Thursday, and it was a fucking nightmare.
Fuck- Fucking love that, bro. And that's one of the best things I feel like if you make 75K, but before your parents gave you 50K month allowance, it's not that sweet, right? Because you've had nothing like us, then getting to those numbers is actually insane. And I feel like people that haven't had the money, their back is against the wall, they're more motivated to do that. So I feel I understand now why your courses, your aids works because you've actually lived through that shit. That's how you can help the newbies. But in terms of the future, what are your goals now? By the end of the year, where do you want to be? What are your main KPIs? Is it money? Is it followers? What do you want to do?
Oh, followers it's a good one, but it's so hard to predict. So yeah, I think like hopefully by the end of the week, I'll be at 30K on Twitter.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, maybe by the end of the year, I'll have a couple more viral TikToks and I'll get up to 200,000 followers. Um, Dude, I don't know, but I think if I could end up clearing um 3/4 mil this year, that would be cool.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to push because we had a couple of bad months at the beginning of the year because brand new company. So obviously, but yeah, I think if we can end up around that ballpark, that would be great.
Gotcha. And do you guys have a specific plan? Are you planning or are you keeping it flexible, just doing what feels right in the moment right now?
We've had a plan. Like we've been just been executing, the plans that we have, like for each company, like for each endeavor that I have, there's like five or six. And I have a plan for each of them. So I kind of know exactly what to do. It's just a matter of actually making sure it gets done, making sure the team is on the right track, and
Mhm.
making sure I don't, do something stupid in the middle. Sorry, I'm gonna mute my Slack here.
All good. Like that's how you know this dude is making money. It's just like Slack notifications, money rolling in. It's all good, bro.
Exactly.
And so,
See,
so you like had the plans, you built agencies, but again, like for all the people that are starting out, like how did you first go start online? Like how did you make your first dollar?
um, so first dollar.
Yeah.
Um, I never went through like I never tried any other business models. I only ever wanted to do copywriting. I think I did buy a dropshipping course because I had some shiny object syndrome at the beginning.
Mhm.
But no, like from jump, like I learned about copywriting through Twitter. I bought a couple courses. I sat on my ass for a long time, just procrastinating. Because like, bro, I fell victim. Someone actually told me this, that like I actually am kind of a normie.
Yeah.
Like that's how I was brought up. That's how my brain worked until 2 years ago. And so I really was the sort of everyman where it's like people who like they want to get a perfect logo before they actually have,
Mhm.
before they start sending cold emails or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And so I was that guy. And so I just didn't do anything until COVID hit. And then as soon as I decided to like actually like put my foot down and start doing work, like it actually was easy. Like it
Mhm.
was easier than I thought. I think I was overprepared, but yeah, no. First dollar I made was when I signed my first client, which was a brand in California called Everyman Jack.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And like that was so you started as offering copywriting as a service?
Yeah, I didn't even have a scope. Like I listened to this guy named Shiv Shetty, and he had a course and everything like that, and he would talk about how like the best way to sort of offer copywriting is like the buffet style, where
Mhm.
it's like you're not just going to do email. You're going to do email, SMS, ads, website, social captions,
Mhm.
blog posts. Like you're kind of going to do everything, like whatever they need, and just give them all of that stuff. And so that was what I did. So for this one brand, I was writing their emails. I was writing a lot of Facebook ads. I was writing Google ads. I wrote like 5 or 6 blog posts over the course of a couple months. And I was just always like on call. And that was like kind of my like secret sauce. Just like they never couldn't get a hold of me because I was so excited to just be working. It
Yeah,
didn't matter if it was like 10 o'clock at night. Like I was on the clock.
guys. And do you feel like you have a like a calling, you have a talent for copywriting, or you just like put your head down and just like push through?
No, I've always been a good writer. It's like I so I I was kind of smart when I was in like kindergarten, and
Yeah.
my teachers would kind of just let me do whatever the fuck I wanted because I was like, kind of ahead of like all the other shit that they were working on.
Mhm.
And so they would just leave me to my own devices, and I would just write these short stories. It would be 3 pages long. Every single one was 3 pages.
Yeah.
It'd be sort of like the setup, and then the climax, and then the conclusion. And so there was this like super spy, that I would write about, and it was like, yeah, he was at a store, and then like a bunch of crime, like a bunch of like, I don't know, sketchy dudes came in, and then he killed him, and then he walked out of the store with a drink or whatever Gatorade he wanted. So like, and so I was doing that, and so I was just like, I've been writing forever, bro. And so like when I was in high school, I crushed every paper. When I was in university, like I was probably one of the better writers, even though I didn't really like to do research or anything like that,
Mhm.
because it was just all like from feel. And so I think copywriting was like a natural thing. And that when I think about like what my like main thing is, like what my mission is,
Mhm.
well, I don't really have a mission yet, but it's more like I think my strong suit is content. Like I if I were more disciplined and I only had one thing to work on, I think I would probably be like I would crush it. I would crush content. Like I'd be doing YouTube, I'd be doing TikTok, and I do have this one thing that's sort of in the pipeline right now that nobody really knows about, where
Mhm.
like content is going to be like it's going to be like my test, where it's like the business is going to rely mostly on content, and
Mhm.
I'm going to be director of that, and I need to make sure it works. And so that's going to be where it's like either Mason is a loser and he doesn't understand content, or he's like the greatest content creator ever. So I'll touch back in about a year and we'll know if it worked or not.
So like with your track record, like with your TikTok already, I think it's bound to work. Like if you just like follow through, right? And I feel the same with Instantly. We've been putting out more and more content, and it feels like we're not like a SaaS, we're not a tech SaaS anymore. We're like a content creation agency, especially like on the marketing side. Just creating content is like so valuable, and you've like stumbled on something that, like again, like it goes together well with like what you're good at. But let me ask you, like if there are those beginners out there that wanna succeed, like they weren't the best, the smartest big brain in the kindergarten, do you think like it's still possible to just like learn it and get good at it? And if yes, like what would you have to do?
For copywriting,
Yeah.
oh, it's definitely possible. Like Sam Parr, for example, you know Sam Parr?
Yeah.
Sam Parr, he talked about this on a podcast. Like he was never a strong writer until he decided to sit down and learn copywriting.
Hmm.
And I think anyone can learn anything. It's just a matter of how long it takes, right? Like my brain, like I've never really had like a math brain. That's not how I work.
Hmm.
But so if I were to sit down and try and learn it, it may take me longer than someone else who like already fundamentally understands it, but I could eventually learn it. I'm not stupid, you know what I mean? So anybody can learn anything. Copywriting is about formulas. So if you can follow the formulas, you're going to be fine. What puts you in sort of like the top 1% is like style. And
Hmm.
so not to plug or anything, but in the copywriting course, like that's what we teach is like the formulas are easy, right? But
Hmm.
how to develop a style, like how do you do that? How do you actually like put sauce on it and make it fun to read? That does take more time, and some people never figure that out. But fortunately, you don't need style in order to be a working copywriter that makes money. It just helps.
And there aren't any formulas for style, or are there?
There is, but it's you still have to have it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like being able to sing. It's
Mm.
like you can learn how to sing, but you still may not sound as natural as like an Adele or Bruno Mars or something like that. And so I think if you really work on it and you kind of do what the content says inside the course, like I think you can develop a style.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, you have to be very conscious of it. Um, and some people kind of just have it. You know what I mean? Like I have a buddy, or actually no, I'll give a better example. Like my little brother,
Hmm.
he was not like super into writing like I was when I was a kid. But I kind of got him on the copywriting wave early 2021 because he wanted to make some money and I thought he'd be good at it because he's a super smart kid. And he's developed a really cool style completely by accident. He doesn't know where it came from. It kind of was just like given to him by God or something like that. You know what I mean? Like you just kind of pick it up. And so that's just an example of like, yeah, I think if you if you write enough, you're going to develop a style no matter what. And I
Hmm.
think like there's things you can do to tweak it, but yeah, no, that's a superpower for sure.
Gotcha. And I went through your courses like curriculum, the like chapters that you had, and what caught my attention was you had a like a line how you can ethically lie and steal. Can you elaborate on that? Some examples?
Yeah. So let me pull up my notes because
Yeah.
I okay, yeah, so ethically lying. Okay, so the principle behind ethically lying is if you can't speak the truth, use words that make it true, right? So think about what a politician does. Think
Hmm.
about how they speak, think about how they write, think about how they address things and when they answer questions and stuff like that.
Hmm.
They can't lie. They can technically, but they have to save face. So they have to play some like verbal karate and sort of change the way things are said. And
Hmm.
this module is in there just so you can sort of um, just for an example, like I don't want anyone to actually do this. I don't want anyone to have to do this, but sometimes you may be in a position where like either with a client one-on-one or for a client, which I've had to do a bunch of times. Like if a client fucks up, then you have to, change the way things work. And so it's using language in a certain way to make untrue things true, which will then, for the right audience, add credibility, add trust, and sort of avoid you looking like a dickhead if you did something dickheadedness, right? And
Mhm.
then so that's ethically lying. Ethically stealing is essentially like, instead of plagiarizing people,
Mhm.
um, you steal by becoming, right? And so in the course, I talk about this guy named Daniel Throssell. He's one of my favorite copywriters. He's a really funny guy. He's from Australia, super smart. He makes a ton of money, and he has a daily email list that he sends emails to, and I'm on it.
Mhm.
And so at the beginning, I was like, how can I be more like this guy? And so instead of just like ripping off his tone of voice or anything like that, I learned how to basically like grab his style and borrow it and
Mhm.
sort of like become him, so that I was having sort of original ideas from a place of like his brain, where
Mm.
instead of me just using the words he uses, I become him, and then I just sort of have my own ideas through that lens. And so we kind of talk about that as well. So again, it's not like you're not actually stealing anything. It's just sort of like how to find a new way to get original ideas, which I think is super important for a new copywriter.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty much like just getting inspired, learning from somebody, and like mixing it together with your own like self and your own like vibes. And I feel like I do that a lot, like even with cold email copywriting. And that's
Mhm.
the next thing that I want to ask you. So, because like copywriting is so like huge, it covers like so many things. And you mentioned you started with like jack of all trades. It's like what's the main difference between copywriting, for example, for cold emails and landing pages, ads? How do you like differ between those?
So I was never that great at cold email writing. Like I never really had to send that many cold emails.
Yeah.
So like when I started sending cold emails, I was like a brand new copywriter and I needed clients. And
Mhm.
so all of the things that I know about writing cold emails come from when I was like a brand new copywriter.
Mhm.
And then after that, clients would just come to me. They would just come from referrals, and I would network with people, and they'd just be like, "Oh, I need you. Can you come on this project?" Sure. And so, to be totally honest, that's not really my strong suit.
Mhm.
My thing is writing for e-commerce brands, because like in 2020 and 2021, when I was like working for, like 5 or 6 agencies and like a bunch of like individual brands, I think I ended the year probably working for like close to 100 brands, or like at least doing something for like 100 brands. So I
Mhm.
got a really good feel for emails and ads. And like now that's kind of my thing. And so, but if you're asking about like sort of how to find your niche or your strong suit, it
Mhm.
really comes down to like, what do you do most, you know? And so that's why I recommend the shotgun approach, where at the beginning I didn't care what I did. I would have worked for anybody, and I did work for everybody. I was just taking whatever people were going to give me.
Mhm.
But I started to get way more experience in, ecom, and so I was like, I'm just going to stay here because this is way better. This is way more fun, and it's easy for me. It's quick. And so the thing with copywriting is like you have to do what you're good at so you can actually scale. So if I started doing new things all the time, I wouldn't be able to write as fast as I do, and I wouldn't be able to take on as many clients because it would take me way too long to get all the work done. And so if I can write an e-commerce email in 90 seconds, I can write 100 emails a day. And what is that worth to my clients? Like, how much can I get paid for that? So that's kind of how I settled into ecom.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting. Like we went the complete opposite routes. Like I tried ecom and then I went on the cold email side. So it's like worked out better for me. But so like with cold emailing or most like online businesses, everybody has like a huge tech stack. But for copywriting, are there any like tools that people could use that help them write better? Like there are so many AI tools, stuff out
Mhm.
there. Like are you using something like that, or what are you using to write?
So the only thing that I like actually use to help me is Grammarly, and I
Mhm.
recommend that to everybody. Like, you can write, it doesn't matter. Like, you can write it in a Google Doc, you can use Gmail. Yeah, like as long as you have Gmail, Google Docs, and Slack, and maybe a spreadsheet or something like that, that's all you need. But I highly recommend people use Grammarly. Obviously, I have no affiliation with them. I just use the product and I enjoy it. Most people don't understand that like their English is not as good as they think it is. Even people who have been speaking English for 50 years, you know what I mean? It's their first language and it's their last language. People don't understand that you still make mistakes because you just learn things wrong. And Grammarly is the sort of be all end all of that, where it's like I Grammarly was pointing out mistakes for me that I didn't even know I was making, and I was making them for years. And then I get on Grammarly and it's telling me like, oh, you should be saying it this way, like phrases I use all the time. And I think everyone should download it because there's nothing worse than like calling yourself a copywriter
Mhm.
and you make fucking 50 spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes in your copy. Like it's just an immediate way to shut down credibility. People
Right.
think like, in the modern world, like grammar doesn't really matter, like spelling doesn't really matter. People can get the message. No, it 100% matters. Like be a professional. You know what I mean? Like if
Mhm.
you're going to do something right, if you're going to do something, do it right. So I think if you can, get a free app that will sort of make it so that you never have a spelling mistake ever again or a grammar mistake, like that's worth it to me.
Got it. And I'm gonna add it down below in the description, like the link to Grammarly, so people can check it out.
Mhm.
And so, if you're not using like many tools, like what are you using to like motivate you or like get into the zone and start writing? Are you like watching some YouTubers, listening podcasts, audiobooks? Like, how do you still like keep learning?
It's a good question. I listen to music and I listen to the type of music that I need to, so okay, so let me give you an example. I used to write for a brand called Cernucci. Do you know who they are?
Nope.
They're a jewelry brand, and they crush. They have such a cool voice. And so when I was writing for them, I would put on like Lil Baby or Drake or something like that, just something because they're a jewelry brand for dudes, right? And so you can imagine like kind of what they want to sound like. They want to sound wavy. They want to sound kind of cool. And
Mhm.
so I need to sort of put myself in that headspace and just kind of get in the zone. And then, if I'm writing for a chick brand, I'll throw on Ariana Grande or Lady Gaga,
Mhm.
which like there's a bunch of chick brands that I have that I still work on. So um, yeah, I think music is definitely good because that's also like kind of like my background. Like I have always been more musical. Like I play guitar. I think people have probably seen that on Twitter.
Mhm.
Um, and like so I feel it more. TikTok is good because it teaches me phrases. So like for example, like if I use a popular like TikTok phrase in a subject line,
Mhm.
people will recognize it and then it'll get a higher open rate and in turn we'll get more sales. Like for example, like another one of these girl brands. Like you've seen that trend where it's like gorgeous, gorgeous girls go to the gym and get a pump or whatever. Like that same thing, I used gorgeous, gorgeous girls in a subject line and it did great. And I only would have known that. Like no dude my age knows what that means. But girls between the ages of 16 and 20 do. And so I have to get on that level, and that's what TikTok does. And so just the same thing, it's sort of like a media loop, just sort of get in the loop, like stay in touch. You know what I mean? Like you have to know what's going on in the world in order to communicate with the world.
Guys, yeah, I love that. It's like being just open to the waves and just like getting everything in and then like using it. That's
Mhm.
that's I think really good advice to people. And so I'm pretty much like done with the main questions that I had. You covered everything like nicely. So I have some rapid fire things like don't check your notes, don't cheat, just like straight up like tell me the first thought that comes to your head. You ready?
Yep, go.
Copywriting or sales,
Copywriting,
cold email or cold calling,
cold email,
coffee or Red Bull.
coffee,
Three Twitter accounts people should follow.
Des Goldie, um, Do, and David at You're a Lazy Fuck. And
Yeah,
you
shout out
too.
to do. Do is the best. And
Yeah.
one thing you wish people stopped doing.
Um, fuck. One thing I wish people stopped doing,
Yeah.
using quick question as a subject line.
Fuck, that's the best working one, bro.
I
Bro.
know. At least stop sending it to me. That's all that matters. I like 20 of those a day. It's getting terrible.
All right. TikTok or Twitter.
Twitter,
If you could use one acquisition channel for the rest of your life, what would you use?
Twitter.
Best Tinder opener.
Quick question.
If somebody gives you the chord in a car to play some music, what's your go-to song?
Going bad. Drake and Meek Mill.
And final question, what is love?
Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. No more. What is love?
You got it, bro. I think
Let's
those were all like right answers. You are actually smart. You didn't lie about the kindergarten thing. And that was like all the questions. So this last part, you can plug your copy course, your cash flow syndicate, tell people like where they can find you, where's the best way to get in contact with you, and then we can end it.
Beautiful, bro. Thank you. Yeah, so cash flow syndicate is for anybody who's at an absolute beginner level and doesn't
Mhm.
know what anything is and wants to get the basics to building a service-based business. Doesn't matter what the service is. It can be, lead generation, it could be email marketing, it could be UGC, it could be Google Ads, it could be anything. If you want to learn how to build that, that's what cash flow syndicate is for. Plus, we have a community of 500 or probably more by the time this goes out entrepreneurs who are all on the same level, and you need to stay accountable, and those people will keep you accountable at the peer level, at the alumni level, and at the expert level, which is me and D. And then Copy MBA is a brand new copywriting course that I just released with my dear friend Chase Diamond. Chase is one of the greatest copywriters that the world has ever known. Nobody even knows that because he doesn't flex it. He's a very humble guy, but he's built multiple 8-figure businesses because of this skill of copywriting. I have, as a 22-year-old, I'm 23 now, but as a 22-year-old, I was able to grow a business to over 40, almost 50K a month just by copywriting. And it was one of the easiest things that I think I've ever done. Way easier than building an agency, way easier than building an education product. I promise you, the work just comes to you. If you're good, people will come to you. I've broken down every single thing that I know about copywriting into this course. You can download my brain. If you want to know what it looks like to write copy like an autistic kid, which is basically what I am when I write copy, then this is the course for you. Plus, the freelancing masterclass will just sort of be like the cherry on top to show you how to actually sell this skill. And then if you're not making money after buying the Copy MBA course and the freelancing masterclass within 3 to 6 months, that sounds like a you problem.
Perfect, man. So I'm gonna leave all the links in the description below. Check him out on Twitter. Thanks so much, man, for jumping on, and I hope you don't forget me when you get super famous on TikTok, bro.
Never, bro. Never will. God bless.
Thanks. See ya.